If you have been looking for a comprehensive comparison test in terms of off-road capabilities between a Jeep Wrangler and a Ford Bronco, then this is the video for you. In this video, we're going to compare both rigs' off-road performance with the differential unlocked and locked, and also with the sway bars connected and not connected. We're also going to compare two's crawl ratio, as you see right here. Of course, the slower one's going to win. And then we're going to compare the flex test in terms of the suspension travel and the turning radius in order to provide you with a comprehensive comparison between the two. Due to the amount of information we're covering here, this video is going to be a little bit longer than normal, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. Hi, welcome to Four-Wheel Drive's Life. Today, as you may already know, that we're going to have a really close comparison. It's going to be an apples to apples comparison in terms of the capabilities, stock form for the two rigs. And excuse my voice, I've just gotten a little sick over the past weekend, so I'm just going to let the video speak for itself. Please sit tight and enjoy. First, we're going to do a turning radius comparison between the two. Since the Bronco is manual transmission, it does not have the trail turn assist for this model year, so it will be a more fair comparison between the Bronco and the Wrangler. We are doing it in two-wheel drive to show the most tight turning radius the vehicle can have, and then we're also going to do a four-wheel drive turning radius comparison as well. Since we're using the drone for this comparison, we decided to do a superimposed image to show you the exact difference between the two, and as you can see here. It seems like Wrangler two-door has a tighter turning radius compared to a Ford Bronco. This makes sense because the stock two-door Wrangler has 96.8 inches of wheelbase, where the Bronco two-door has 100.4 inches of wheelbase. Now we're doing a four-wheel drive high comparison. It seems like both has a very similar turning radius. However, I believe, to me, it seems like the Wrangler has just a little bit of edge over the Bronco. It would be interesting to test out the trail turn assist with one that's equipped with. However, it's not possible in this case. This is just to show you the difference between two-wheel drive and four-wheel drive in terms of turning radius. As you can see, turning radius when the four-wheel drive is engaged is a little bit larger than the two-wheel drive mode. Not by much though. Then we head to the famous rolling rock hills that we have been using as a baseline for all the comparisons featured on Four-Wheel Drive's live channel. So first up, we have our Jeep Wrangler Rubicon two-door JL climbing this hill. As you can see, we're first trying it without lockers, so it will be on vehicle's traction control and no connect or sway bar not disconnected. As you can see, the JL struggles a lot, not like the previous episodes. I believe it's due to the lower temperature overnight, which is below freezing, below 0 Celsius, and there's much less traction on the rocks. And as you see, the JL without a locker just couldn't get up that large boulder in the middle of the climb, so the driver had to get out and scout for a better line or a safer line to attack. We then decided that we want to stick to our original line because we want to keep the consistency between the two rigs. So he decided to tackle this line again, with that boulder in front of him. This is a different camera angle of the same climb, continually playing. As you can see, all four wheels struggles to have traction even with 15 psi's low pressure. So after the second failed attempt without a locker, we reassessed the line and had him try again one last time. If it didn't work, we'll just engage the locker, and we are pretty sure with the locker on, it shouldn't be much of a problem. And as you can see, again, no lockers, it just slips everywhere, all four wheels. And I told him to just have the locker on, and you can see the difference right here. By the way, the inclinometer here says around 30 degrees of incline, so it's not an easy hill. Next up is the Bronco on the same challenge. We had the Bronco sway bar not disconnected and no lockers engaged, just 4-low and with the traction control on. So we'll see how the traction control does in the same situation compared to the JL. So we have a similar situation here with the 04 tire spinning without a locker, and the driver decided to try it again with a little different line. And as you can see, the entire vehicle is pivoting towards the left or driver's side on its rear tire. That's not a good sign without traction. And eventually the driver was able to make it up, unlike the JL 2-door. Now let's see that climb again from a different angle. As you can see, when the diagonal wheel started to slip, the vehicle lost its momentum and stopped going forward. And at last, the driver decided to give it a little bit of momentum. As you can see, the front passenger tire started to grab and the whole car started moving. And just to show you how steep this hill is, I'm including a little behind the scene footage of me trying to retrieve that camera uphill. So in the effort of providing you with the most comprehensive test, we decided to come back down the same ledge again, the same hill again, and do another 2 run of the same climb with disconnect sway bar only, no lockers, and then fully locked and disconnect sway bar. And as you can see now is that when 2 vehicles are going down that same hill. See that rock over there? The driver front tire is catching and hitting the frame of the Bronco. That shows you how big that rock is, because there's a good at least 10-inch ground clearance for that Bronco, and it's still hitting the frame left and right. So for this run, the JL is disconnected in terms of sway bar. There's a lot of flex, but still cannot make it up. It's weird because it never had a problem, or it didn't have a problem for the last 3 runs that we did there. And then we decided to just turn on the locker and just go from there. So what we learned from here is that even with the same obstacle, same trail, the weather conditions different, and it's a different day, no matter if it's temperature difference or humidity, the trail can be completely different than what your previous experience of. So please keep that in mind and do not take anything for granted. And here is the Bronco having the same setup, 4-low, lockers off, sway bar disconnected, going up the hill. Again, you can see visibly more amount of front tire travel, more in terms of drooping, with the sway bar disconnected. And again, it didn't have much of a problem compared to the JL going up. So this is them going down the same hill the second time, and as you can see, the front tire is just a little bit taller than that boulder over there. And it's a 33-inch tire, so you do the math. just keep in mind this is about a 30-degree hill right here, so it's not easy. And last climb for this hill, everything it was on, lockers, sway bar disconnect, 4-low, and there was no fuss at all. In this challenge, we're testing out both rigs' flex ability. As you can see, over the same ditch, we did the first run with the sway bar connected, and the second run with the sway bar disconnected. The cool thing for Bronco is, as you can see here, it disconnects on demand, which is very useful in my opinion. And now you see the disconnected comparison. So for this comparison, we are comparing the crawl speed between the two rigs. The crawl ratio for Wrangler is 77.2 to 1, for the Bronco is 94.75 to 1 with the help of the crawl gear for the manual transmission. They both have 285/70 R17 came with the stock setup, so it's a very direct comparison. As you can see, this is a good visualization of how different 77.2 to 1 and 94.75 to 1 looks like. We then tested them again on this little downhill spot where, as you can see, again the Bronco is a little slower than the Wrangler as expected.
Good.
For this challenge, we're testing out the Ford Bronco's suspension travel and locker in a really off-camber and hard driver turning situation. It was really sketchy in person. The Bronco really handled it well, given that there is no excessive movement and no lose of traction whatsoever. Okay, here's a unique angle of from my GoPro camera and just trying to catch the belly or the undercarriage action. Somehow I believe my GoPro was semi-stepped on. Here is the Jeep Wrangler doing the same obstacle challenge. However, the driver decided not to do the same line as he does not want to factor in the hard turning factor into the equation on top of the extreme off-camber condition. Did it, no problem.
That was about my limit. I would just steer out of it.
And here's a view from the ground of the Rubicon's undercarriage. As you can see the components, there's no skid plates. I believe that's a fuel tank skid plates right there. So in this last challenge, we had a little bit of a puckering moment. As you can see, when the Bronco descend or started to descend, the driver's side passenger side rear wheel tire
you want to
was
spot
riding
him?
up
You want to spot him?
against the bank and caused it to lift really high up to the point that it was kind of sketchy. But unfortunately, the driver was good enough to turn it out of it and came down okay. And for the JL, for the Wrangler, as you can see, the Jeep was lined up a little better to the hill, to the slope it goes down to, so there isn't a lot of catch on the rear wheel when it comes down. And both rigs went up that same hill, no problem, on their lowest gear. Here are the footages. So just to give you a little more perspective of the steepness of the hill, this is the video of two more dirt bikes that's next to us that tried the same hill. And as you can see, of course the dirt bikes went up no problem, but it gives you a different perspective of how the hill looks. So that concludes our comprehensive off-road comparison between Jeep Wrangler and Ford Bronco. To me, I believe Ford has really held its own in terms of the off-road capability of the Bronco up against this current off-road king, which is the Jeep Wrangler two-door Rubicon. And they stack up pretty well in each categories of comparison: lockers, no lockers, flexibility test, crawl control or crawl ratio, turning radius, etc. And I believe they are very equal in terms of off-road capability. What do you guys think? Please leave a comment below in the comment section of who would you pick for a better off-road rig. It might even come down to which brand do you like better, or what look do you like better, or what looks better in your opinion. So feel free to comment below and subscribe as well if you like the channel. This channel will be putting out more awesome off-road comparison video like this. I'm also working on the trunk dimension comparison and the cabin dimension comparison between the front Bronco and the Ford Bronco and the Jeep Wrangler. In the video, I'll be showing you the exact measurement of the trunk space and seat dimension, seat width, front row width, and stuff like that. So if you like the contents, feel free to again subscribe and stay tuned for this next video that's coming in about a week. Thanks for watching and have a good one.